You believe passionately that legalizing cannabis, you don't like to say marijuana, you think it's a little divisive. You like to just say cannabis, the medical term. You believe legalizing cannabis and taxing it like alcohol would actually help us, the United States, get out of the debt crisis that we're in right now. Do you believe that, seriously?
I really do. There's precedent for it. Before alcohol prohibition, at times 70% of U.S. federal revenue came from alcohol, for better or for worse. So we could see the same thing with cannabis, plus the drug wars. 40 years in, $1 trillion of our tax money, and I mean, as far as affecting supply, let's just look at this audience. It's like a Willie Nelson tour bus out here, so.
It's not really true. Only about 4 people in the audience responded to that. Everyone else is on something else. I get more of a pill crowd. But this is interesting. You think the amounts of money that you think are involved here are enormous. We're talking about enormous revenue could be generated. Revenue that would change the stakes for the United States fiscally.
Oh, yeah. So I looked at one particular county that basically just called it off, declared the drug war done, Mendocino County, Northern California.
Mendocino, right.
They just admitted what was already there, and America continued, and they raised $600,000 in 1 year and saved.
So what did they do? Well, explain how it worked. What Mendocino did is the local sheriff, just on his own, pretty much said, you know what, we're not going to fight this anymore, we're going to control it.
The Board of Supervisors passed a law that the sheriff endorsed as a way of raising revenue in a fiscally strapped county, and they saved 7 jobs, and $6 billion is the estimated annual revenue from the county from this crop. It's also America's #1 cash crop, but in this county, the legal crop...
It's America's #1 cash crop?
More than corn and soy combined. So let's get that into the tax base.
You're saying that, I can't believe that it's more than corn and soy combined.
It really is, yeah. And that's, you know, before anybody can grow it openly. So, in
How do I know this is all real? What if you're just high right now?
I did visit
more than
Andy's
there are
dressing
stars
room.
in the sky. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure.
No, there's no place to get it in L.A. anymore, right?
Exactly, that's over. Well, let's talk about this. I've always assumed, and I'm a bit of a square, I'll admit that, but I've always assumed that drug cartels, gangs, that pot, that it was more about cocaine, that's where the real revenue was from. You say that legalizing marijuana would vastly affect the cartels and the gangs.
Yeah, some of the estimates put as high as 70% of cartel revenues are coming from cannabis. And so knock that out and transfer that to the legitimate American economy, put farmers back into the fields. It could truly be a real boon to the economy for sure.
Okay, so you're saying overnight the drug cartels would be immobilized practically?
You know, I don't know about overnight. It's kind of hard to prognosticate, but if you look at history and alcohol prohibition, there's not so many bootleggers anymore, you know.
Yeah, it's true. And when there are, you just feel sorry for them.
We're gonna have some whiskey.
I was surprised.
Underground, come join me.
This is not a right-wing, left-wing issue. There are a lot of people who hear about this might assume that, well, you know, conservatives, Republicans must be against this, or Democrats must be for it, that it would divide along those lines. You're saying it does not really divide along those lines.
That's probably been the most surprising thing is, I live in the heartland. I've got a ranch in New Mexico, and I'm running into grannies in cowboy hats in the market and tell them what my book's about, and I just progressively am getting less and less sort of, you know, apologetic about it. You know, you tell people, you know, makes sense for America economically to end this drug war, and everybody that I run into is into it. And we've got Pat Robertson speaking out against the drug war now too. So evangelicals are coming on board.
So evangelicals are saying legalize cannabis?
Big time, yeah.
Okay.